So the car's back on the drive. Just turn the ignition off, so nothing's powered up. The controller's off, keys are out, and you can see the controller voltage there is still up 150 volts. That's just because the amount of capacitors are in there. Obviously that is still charged, so I need to be a little bit careful when I'm poking around under the bonnet. But should we go and have a look under there? Now you have to bear in mind, I did this conversion, and from when I started it, we moved house to our house here, and my wife had a baby, so when you see some dodgy wiring, that's why. Give me 2 seconds. Right, here we go. So there are some. There's a few things to tidy up and a few things to finish. Well, quite a few things to finish off, and a few upgrades which I'd like to do. But there's the batteries. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Trojan T1275 150 ampere hour lead acid batteries, deep cycle, decent lead acid batteries. Right.